Ducks fans, are you ready? You are listening to the Ducks and Pucks podcast. This is the #1 home for Anaheim Ducks talk and analysis. Here we go.
Welcome to the show. This is your host, Mike Walters, along with my co-host, Eddie Richard, and we are back after a little bit of an extended break on the show. We had a lot of stuff going on with Thanksgiving and things like that, so we have a little bit of ground to cover on this show. We won't go over all the games necessarily since the last show, but we'll cover some of the big ones, especially Washington, which Eddie and I went to, and the more recent games against the Kings and the Knights. Some interesting action going on. Plus, we have some poll questions related to that, and then our other segments like we talk about team news. A lot of stuff going on in the minor league for the Ducks. A lot of good stuff. Tons of fan questions, and then our league news at the very, very end. So we'll get to that as well. But just catching up here. I know we just had Thanksgiving. How did it go for you, Eddie? How was the holiday break?
It was fun. I went to my brother's house. Just kind of keep it like low key. I didn't want to go, but I felt obligated to. Came back home and worked on my cybersecurity stuff, like a little nerd. It was cool, but though I ended up drinking with my buddies. When my roommate got home, we drank. I finished all my homework. I caught up for the whole week. So the next day for Black Friday, I was just kind of like cool. We cleaned up a little bit. We went out to an 80s bar, and it was a good holiday. It was fun.
That's good. For me, it was mine's a little bit weird. I kind of have, I guess everybody, if you're married, you have 2 Thanksgivings, right? I mean, some people do. You go to one house and then the other sometimes, unless you all get together. But for my family, it's kind of weird. My wife has tons of siblings, so they do it on the Sunday before Thanksgiving. They get together, and then on the day of, we go hang out with the rest of the family. Well, the only thing that was kind of made it rough is that usually, on her side of the family, we take turns for Christmas, and her dad does Thanksgiving for hosting, but instead we ended up doing it. So you know how that went. So I was just very, very busy getting the food, cleaning the house and all that kind of stuff. But it was good. Had a good time, had them all over, and then did the stuff with my family on the day of. So, all good. I hope, everybody else had a good Thanksgiving, and, looking forward to Christmas and New Year's coming up for sure. 2022 is right around the corner, thank God, right? So I hope you all had a good holiday, and we'll kind of just break down some of these games. Eddie and I finally went to a game and finally hung out. I don't think we had hung out in, a year and a half or so, but we decided to go to a big game, and that was the game against the Capitals where the Ducks had a chance to get their 1,000th franchise win. Getzlaf had a chance to get his 1,000th point. The Ducks had won 7 in a row at that point. And I have to tell you, Eddie, us going to this game, it did not disappoint. The Ducks won, got their 8th win in a row, dramatic fashion. We saw an early goal by Fowler with an assist on Getzlaf, so he got his 1,000th point. The Ducks got their 1,000th win. We went a little early. We stayed late. This game had everything in it. It was just exciting to see these milestones all achieved. And just what a wonderful game. Exciting back and forth. The Capitals are a tough team, and the Ducks won this game, and we got to hang out, and just all around, what a blast that night was.
Yeah, like the best thing you mentioned is I got to see you again. You're my brother and stuff like that. It was just amazing to see after all those months or over a year plus. It was great to just us to hang out and go to a game. It was funny because we're recording that podcast that Monday, and before we start recording, I mentioned hey, I really want to I'm thinking about going to that game. And you're like, hey, well, we should go, blah blah blah, and we ended up going. Perfect game. I remember the last game I went with you was against the Sens when Delorier had his hat trick. It was one of those games where only regret I had is I didn't bring a hat to throw on the ice, which you had your hat and you just tossed it real quick. I was kind of jealous of that. But it was a perfect game. Seeing being there for Getzlaf, his 1,000th point, 1,000th franchise win. It's just everything was set in stone. It was perfect. We saw Terry's point streak extended, and then Zegras' little stick throw. It was just amazing, and him getting a 10-minute misconduct for that too. What the hell? Jack Hughes did that, and he didn't get a 10-minute misconduct. I guess it's a SoCal discrimination or something. I don't have no idea what's going on, but I couldn't expect to have a perfect game, and like the last 2 games I went to have been perfect. One was with my older brother, which was great, and now my other older brother, Mike, which was perfect. So I wish I could just kind of like Groundhog Day my brother's game, and then the game I went with you, Mike, just for just a couple of weeks, just keep living that day over and over again because I couldn't think of anything. I think the only bad thing was I actually ate a hot dog, which the second hot dog I ate in like 2 years since I started like my diet and stuff like that. But you know what? It was good for a little cheat meal, and the beer was amazing too.
Yeah, I remember we did have a hot dog, which was fantastic, and I have to say that was the first game I had been to this season. I hadn't been going to as many lately for various different reasons, but we were able to make it. Like you said, had a blast, and yeah, they have. If you have not gone to the games, they do have other beer selections there now that are fantastic, and yeah, I'll just leave it at that. They have better selection of beer, so that part was good. Had a blast. We saw Ned too in the Jack Daniels bar afterwards. Talked to him for a little bit. You all know Ned. He's the one with the crazy face, actually crazy head paint that's hanging out. So we had a blast catching up with him and talking to him after the game. And it was funny, I didn't even realize, like you said, Zegras got that penalty. I didn't notice that till later on afterwards, because I remember him dropping the stick in the crowd, and I didn't really think anything of it. And there was a lot of discussion afterwards about that. And yeah, it's a penalty because you throw something or toss something, or hand something, however you want to look at it, because he didn't really throw it per se, but you can't do that during a game. And then, of course, people were getting technical about it, saying, well, the game was over, so why should it be a penalty? Just like when they hand out sticks for like the first, second, and third star or whatnot. And I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was ridiculous. I mean, I think in that moment of time, him just handing it basically or lightly tossing it over the glass like that, once the game was over, I don't think it deserved a penalty, because, the other thing is you do that 10-minute penalty after the game. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, yeah, it goes into the stat book for, 10 minutes of penalties, but I just thought that was super wino, especially like you said, Jack Hughes doing that too, and not getting anything. But regardless of that, this game was like the best experience. I mean, we had a blast, exciting game. Zegras had 2 goals in there. Like you said, Terry kept his streak going. At the end of this game, the Ducks were in first place in the Pacific Division at that time, which is crazy. They had outscored the opponents in the win streak 33-13 during this time. If there's no other high during the season, I think this would be the high for the time during the season, Eddie.
Oh yeah, it was just this game. I told you, I wanted a Groundhog Day experience for this. Like, everything was perfect. Like the traffic, you know what? Even the traffic on the way there wasn't that bad. It was just, I mean, a little bit bad. I got there a little late, but it was just cool. The only thing that was bad, Mike, we didn't go to eat before the game. Like, we had to, like, it was just so like packed. They had like an hour wait, and also the 400 level. We sat with the peasant level, I guess people call it. I'm a peasant, so I love it. There wasn't like that much stuff open, but we got to see our favorite bartender, which his name is Mike too. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right. There not as many. If you've gone too, not as many of the food places are open on the 400 level, unfortunately. And I talked to some of the staff there. They just don't have enough people to staff, the top level. So they pretty much have, the 200 level and the 300 level the way it is. But yeah, we did see my buddy also named Mike, which was good. I caught up with him as well. In a good time. So it was great. I felt like the Ducks were on top of the world at this point. One of the best records in the league, number 1 in the Pacific, everything going good, and everything going right for the Ducks. And we happened to be there, and everything's fine. And then after this, then of course everything starts going south for the Ducks. The Ducks go on a 3-game losing streak. They actually lose 4 of their next 5 games. I'm not going to go too much into these and bore you with the details of all the losses and stuff like that, but just real briefly, they lost to the Canes 2-1. You did have Terry scoring. He had his 16-point streak at that time. Then the Ducks went on. They played the Predators, and Terry's streak was snapped. Unfortunately, the Ducks lost that game 2-3. The bad thing is Henrique got hurt in this game. We weren't sure how bad it was going to be. Found out it was a dislocated finger, according to Eric Stevens. And then he was out in that game against the Avs, which was probably one of the worst games for the Ducks. They literally got smoked by the Avalanche 5-2. I mean, the Avs they took over that game in the second period. You had McDermott and D'Lo fighting again, which the Ducks have been fighting some more, which has been great. But they put Grant on the top line in that game when Henrique was out, which don't do that, Akins. Please don't. Don't put Grant on the top line. He's a bottom six dude. I don't know what he was thinking on that. So the Ducks had a rough stretch there. Those 3 games. We also saw Mason McTavish go down to juniors, which we kind of figured that because he was at that 9 game, coming up on the 10th game. Are they going to burn the first year of his entry-level contract? They did not do that. They sent him back down. Not too surprising, though. The Ducks, have had these injuries, as we've talked about before, with some of the guys being out and whatnot. People were concerned Henrique was out. We knew Comtois was out. We learned more about him, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and whatnot. But the Ducks went a rough patch here. They lost these 3 games. Then they had the Black Friday game, which I actually went to with my wife, which was like another great game. I mean, they played the Sens team, which has had trouble with COVID and whatnot. But Stolarz went in net in that one, shut out. There were more fights in that game. We saw Manson square it off with Kachuk in there. We had Carrick getting in fights. The Ducks blanked the Senators 4-0. So it was a good win, knocking off that losing streak again against a crappy team. But whatever, it's exciting. Going on that Black Friday game is fun. Going at 1 o'clock and doing all that. And then the Ducks came back and played the Leafs, and they actually played well against Toronto. But then Toronto took over the second period. Ducks, just couldn't rally after that. So a little bit of a rough patch. So, you had the Ducks going on this 8-game winning streak. Eddie and I were at that game. And then after that, they lose 4 out of the next 5. I think it was kind of interesting. Some stuff that was pointed out to us. We had the Mighty Jerseys on Twitter point out some records to us during this time as far as goals and scored for and against, and how that really impacts the outcome of the game for the Ducks. Which, again, I don't like to harp on one stat. We've talked about this. Some people like to look at plus minus. Some people like to look at one analytical stat. Eddie and I like to look at all the stats. Plus, we like to look at intangibles like chemistry and things like that. But I thought it was interesting because he pointed this out, and I didn't even know. So we have to give him, a tip to the, him looking this stuff up. But if you look at these losing streak, I mean, these games they lost, they only scored 1 or 2 goals in those 4 losses. And on the season, they have not won a game when they have scored less than 3 goals. So it's just kind of something interesting to look at. Like I said, I'm not riding on one stat, but that's where they're at. And when they've scored more than 3 goals, they're 13-2-3. So you're almost guaranteed that they're going to win if they score at least 3 goals or more. It's just kind of something interesting to keep in mind, the magic number of 3. But what did you think about this stretch and those numbers, Eddie? I know we kind of talked about this. They seems like they placed pretty well most of the season, but they went on this stretch. Do you think it was because some of these teams are better teams? Obviously, the Avs and Leafs are up there. What do you think is the issue? They also didn't have Henrique for a couple games. He did come back in the Senators game, and McTavish is gone. Do you think some of the lineup was part of the issue, or just playing better teams, or what's your take on them slowing down here in this stretch of 5 games?
I think you forgot one important stat when they lost against Carolina. You and I weren't at the game. I think if we were there, Ducks would have sent us there and they would have won. No, but you know what? Carolina was probably a good game. They're a good team. They're the hottest team in the league right now. Rob Brindamore has been amazing, a coach. That little scar on his face makes him intimidating. He got a little fine for talking crap to the referees this week, but it's just that was a game you could be proud of. The Ducks they hung in there with one of the hottest teams in the league. Nashville's been creeping up there. You have Matt Duchene finally stepping up to his contract and his potential. Colorado, you had it's Colorado, and then Kadri has been on fire. He's probably been one of the best players of November, I want to say, in the league. He's just been putting up the points. It's hard to say. It's actually funny to say that he's been the best player on Colorado, minus Rantanen and McKinnon. he's been like playing better than him, or both of them. He hasn't been getting that many penalties. He's just been on fire. That Black Friday game too against Ottawa. I mean, of course we're gonna figure like they have to beat them, but it was still a good game. Still, Lars was close to getting that shutout against Arizona when I went to the game. Unfortunately, he didn't get that, so it was good to see him get that shutout and well deserved. Toronto, another team too, has been an absolute terror. They're just on fire. I know the fans up there are just going bananas over that. They'll probably still lose in the first round of the playoffs, but still, like they were on fire. But the Ducks kept up with them, so that shows a glimpse of hope. The Kings. Have we talked about the Kings yet or no?
No, we're coming up on those. We'll come up on those in a minute.
Yeah. So the whole Toronto thing too. Like Jack Campbell. It's hard not to love him. Like he's been through a bumpy road. I know he was a high draft pick. I believe it was for Dallas. He's been bouncing around the league for a little bit. He finally found his groove at Toronto. I know it's really hard with the media up there. It's the scrutiny of it, but he's really found his groove, and he's been playing lights out hockey. And I think that was a big determining factor that he helped them go ahead and get that win. If he wasn't in net, or if it was like kind of a mediocre goalie, the Ducks would have had a few of those chances, and they probably could have had a chance or kept up with them. Don't let the score dictate how you feel about that game, because it's not true.
Yeah, that's one thing too. Is I mean, like you mentioned it, they played well against Carolina. Yeah, they lost by 1 goal, but they did. They played a good game in that one. The Leafs, yeah, they took over in the second period and started getting ahead. And the Ducks got behind, but again, they didn't play horrible in that game. I mean, the score looked worse than what it was with those 2 late goals. It was a 3-1 game, and the Ducks had chances in that one too. So even though they had this losing streak, I didn't think that they played terrible, and I think that's the big thing that we got to look at too. A lot of people are concerned about wins and losses, right? We've talked about that, but the process. For me, I like the fact that we can watch these games now and the Ducks are competitive. I mean, yes, they lost 4 out of 5 games, but I mean, they were in all these games except probably the game against the Avs. The Avs really took it to them. I mean, that is what it is, especially from the second period on. But looking at this team, looking at the process and the way that they're doing right now, I mean, look at the games that they've played. We'll talk about the Kings and the Knights in a minute, but in terms of scoring 3 goals or more, they've done that. Sitting here in 18 games, I mean that's amazing that they're just killing it as far as scoring goals. 18 of the games they scored 3 or more goals, and then the other 6 they've scored less than that. I mean that's a huge improvement from this last season and a half or whatever with how many games they played between the shortened season with the lockdowns and all the craziness. But that's a huge part of it, and I like the way that they're doing what they're doing. I think the only issue has been the lineups sometimes. Obviously, with McTavish going down, it kind of hurts because that was the guy that was giving you, not necessarily lighting it up every night, but he was giving you solid forecheck and attack and everything like that. So you had him out, and then you've had to juggle some stuff now because you lost Comtois as well. You have Jones that's been gone and whatnot. So they go in to this last week here, and they played 2 division rivals. They played the Kings and the Knights, who the Kings have been, I guess, playing better than what you would expect. They're kind of like the Ducks. A lot of people thought that they weren't going to do as well, and they're actually doing better. And then the Knights are kind of the opposite. The Knights they thought were going to be up there, and the Knights are actually not playing as well. So the Ducks had these 2 games, and I mean, oh my God, you want to talk about entertaining hockey. These 2 games are crazy. I mean, we'll talk about the Kings game first. Holy crap. This game was just wild. You had Drew Doughty came back for the Kings. He had been out for a little bit. And the Ducks went to work right away. Had Troy Terry scoring this one. His 14th goal in the season. Insane. You had Shattenkirk getting in on there. I mean, he's 5th goal of the season. Fowler on the power play. And then it looked like the Ducks had this. They were dominating the Kings. They were up 4-1, and then the Kings scored technically 4 goals in the third period. They had one of them that didn't count from a high stick, but it ended up having to go to overtime. They battled out. They went to a shootout. The Ducks ended up winning This game was crazy too because Getzlaf got hurt. He got knocked out of it. So this was another game where the Ducks were playing with a short bench on the forward lines. And I was happy that they won this game and everything, but I was kind of frustrated because this game they blew that 4-1 lead. They actually almost blew a 4-1 lead against the Knights too in the next game. But in this game, I'm happy they won. They got the 2 points, but I did not like them letting off the gas in the third period, playing like that. Some people were talking about the prevent defense, whatnot. And, it almost came back to bite them. And when you're playing these division teams, yes, you want to win, but you want to get those 2 points in regulation. Because if you go to overtime or a shootout, you're only gaining 1 point if you win. And then when you're going to the tiebreakers and all that stuff, this isn't going to help you with the regulation overtime wins if it goes, into the shootout, which what happened. The Ducks, won in a shootout, but that doesn't help you in tiebreaker stuff. So, overall, I thought the Ducks played well for 2 periods and then kind of, fell apart a little bit in the third. What did you think, Eddie?
It's always good to beat the Kings. I don't care. I've said it numerous times in the show, about this team, and I'll answer a fan question after we talk about the Vegas game. But it's always good to beat the Kings. However, you dropping that lead when you had it, and you letting off some steam and letting them catch up, that's bad. It seems like vintage Ducks. Like Ducks have a reputation of not playing a full game. I know Getzlafs have been on record saying that no teams play 60 minutes. That's one thing I disagree with because I watched numerous hockey and there's teams that play 60 minutes. Toronto's been playing 60 minutes. You have the Avs playing 60 minutes. Carolina plays 65 minutes in a 60-minute game. I don't know what they're doing over there. But like I said, it's always good when we beat the Kings. Getzlaf's injury was like a freak accident. It's just his ankle went the wrong way, and I think he's going to be out for a few weeks. It's just the way it looked about it. Really glad the Ducks won. The only unfortunate thing too, I didn't watch this game live. I had to watch it afterwards when I had a game that night too, or I had a hockey practice that night. So it was good to actually come home and sit down and relax. And it felt less stressful to know the score already, know the Ducks won. So watching it after, I was like, all right, cool. I'm not yelling at the TV. I'm just like, okay, they scored. Oh, they scored again. But Ducks are going to win in the shootout. But I like how the Ducks kind of rose and stepped up. And Shattenkirk, too, I think he was a player of the game. He scored that shootout winning goal. So it was a good game, but there's a lot of room for improvement. That team just didn't It shouldn't have been like that. You have that much of a lead, you should actually hold that lead and just keep moving forward. I always say, if you have a lead, always think of the score as 0-0. Don't play too conservatively. Don't try to be defense first. Just keep playing your game and keep moving forward. If the Ducks would have done that, it would have been a blowout. The Ducks probably could have won 7 or 8-1 or something like that. But they allowed the Kings to get back. One thing to note, too, this is the last game that the Ducks will play at Staples Center, quote unquote. It's changing to a Crypt Arena, whatever, Crypto.
Crypto.com. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry if Bloods are listening or Crips. I don't know the gang thing. But it was funny because, one of the basketball players, I want to say Dwight Howard from the Lakers, thought it was going to be a Crypt Arena. The whole gang thing. So yeah, that was pretty funny, but their new arena change and then hiding that Taylor Swift banner when they play, it's a joke. Kings, I don't care. I don't like the Kings. They're my second hated team minus the Wild. So I'm glad we beat them. That's all that matters. I keep saying I have an expectation for this team this season, and I know it's not what you guys want to hear, but I'm glad that we beat the Kings and I just hope we keep moving forward, and every game we play the Kings moving forward, we beat them.
Yeah, I know. We always talk about that. Regardless what the Ducks do in the season, we're like, please beat LA. That's the main thing, like you talked about. But yeah, the other thing that was kind of weird to me in this is that Akins has been doing some kind of interesting things towards the end of some of these games, and I noticed he had benched Drysdale towards the end of the game and didn't play him. In that third, and I don't think he even played him at all in the overtime, if I'm not mistaken. But this third period that they they started, giving up these goals. I mean, all of that wasn't on him. So, I don't know if he was trying to send a message to Drysdale or not, but I wouldn't put the blame on him for a lot of these. I mean, yeah, he was out there for some of this stuff, but I don't know. I just think that was kind of a questionable thing, and we'll see that too in the Knights game. I'll get to it in a minute about another thing that he did with the lineup. And I've noticed he's been kind of doing some stuff with, seems like Drysdale and Zegras down the stretch. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting, some of the decisions that he makes at the end and whatnot. But, the Ducks ended up pulling this one out. Like I said, got the points. They won, which is huge. And, it's good, especially, you had that loss to the Leafs. You get back on the win column. You also played the game without Getzlaf for a while, and you're right, that play, I don't know, he did not play the Knights game. We don't have an update. He could be out for a while and whatnot. But I feel that the Ducks won, like we said, we're happy they won. They could have won by more. But another kind of battle that happens between these teams, and it's kind of funny, is the social media stuff. And we've talked about how the Ducks' social media has been fantastic this season, or at least much more improved. And I thought it was funny because the Kings tried to poke fun at the Ducks, and they were saying, you're on a first date, and they mentioned being a Ducks fan, and what do you do? And I thought it was hilarious. I thought they gave like 3 options, like duck out and all this other stuff. And then the Ducks answered, and they said they put D as an option and put Mary, which I thought was funny. But what did you think about Teemu? Joined in on this one too, Eddie. If you want to read his response, or just what did you think about Teemu's responses too? Because he got in on this as well on Twitter.
Yeah, you know what? I love him. He's awesome. He said, many of my really good friends are Kings fans, and I always try to remind them that don't worry, nobody's perfect. That is an awesome response. It was the funniest thing in the world. I think Solani is just, I think he's one of the greatest guys in the world. Like, this guy can walk on water, I believe. I mean, he skates on like frozen water, but I think he's a perfect human being. He's so happy. He makes like everything better. But this response was just like great. And the Kings, Kings always have a good social media. And I hate to say that, like they always been better than Ducks, but the Ducks, like replying back, I don't know who's running it. Adam, if you're doing something different, shout out to you. But they've been like better than they have in the past. It's fun. And their social media is more engaging. It's awesome. It was funny. It was just awesome. It's just, I hope they never go up against New Jersey, because New Jersey's a savage. Like those guys, I don't know who they hired, or they probably hired people that just a comic. But I think it was fun. It gets everyone wild up, like both fans. It just, when Slonny talked, I mean, you can't really, like, if you're a Kings fan too, you can't really be like, oh, it's F this guy. No, it's funny. And the whole date thing too, Mike. You're married, so it's like I can't ask you that. But if I was on a first date with the girl, and like in California, in SoCal, if she liked hockey, then it's all for me. Like I can't, like forget about it. Like if she likes hockey, it's cool. Now if she's like really enthusiastic and she's like, oh, F the Ducks, all Kings, okay, I'll take her on a first date to a nice restaurant, get an expensive bottle of wine, get the most expensive meal. I'll excuse myself to use the restroom, and I'll just bounce out. It's like, hell no.
Yeah, you'll do the duck out move that the Kings talked about.
Oh, no, or have you call me, but like, I tell the girl, hey, Mike, I have to wash my hair.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that, like, when I met my wife, she's not as into hockey as much as I am, but, she liked the sport and stuff like that, and followed it and whatnot, and I had asked her that, and it was funny. This is, I guess, kind of a story that I never really shared. I don't even think I shared it with you or a lot of people, but my wife has this thing with vision boards. And then if you understand what a vision board is, you get a poster board, you put it up, and like you can put sayings or clippings or things on there, and basically the thought process behind it is whatever is on that vision board is like your goals and what you strive to do. And if you keep looking at it, it will remind yourself of what you're trying to do or where you're trying to go, and hopefully you fulfill them. So what was funny is my my wife and I, we both got divorced before. We were single, just kind of doing our thing. But it was funny. She wanted to find a tall guy and a guy that likes sports, right? And so you're trying to think, okay, like what athlete would she pick, right? Who would she put on her poster board? So she put Chris Pronger on her poster board. So I just thought that was the funniest thing. After we had gone out on several dates, she had told me like, "Oh yeah, I want a tall guy that likes sports and the Ducks," and it was Chris Pronger. So I just thought that was pretty crazy, Eddie. Like it's just weird how that all worked out. But if it had been something like you had talked about, if I had met her and she was hardcore Kings, and like hated the Ducks and all that stuff, I'm sorry. I know some people out there can do it. I could not do it. There's no way. I just can't. Like, that would just not work for me. I couldn't even. I don't even know if I could do what you did, go to the bathroom and then bounce or whatever. I would just be like, bye, I'm out. I can't fake it, man. I just can't, Eddie.
No, I was joking about that. I would never do that to a woman. I like with me, I want to be perfect at everything. So like all the dates I go on, I exceed the expectation. Like even like I've been on a few dates where it's like I knew it wouldn't work. Like I just like certain qualities. It's like no, I'm out. But I still want to have a good date. But man, you know what? That's the first time I heard that story, Mike. I don't think you never told me that story either. And I applaud you for that. You found your soulmate. That's awesome. I'm still what now? I'm like 15 dates in, different girls. Like shit.
Yeah,
but
I was there though too. I know. After I got divorced the first time, it was some rough waters for a while. So I mean, I know how it goes.
I'm in no hurry though. I'm enjoying my life. I love my life. I want to have fun, and I want to let the universe take me where it goes. And just watching hockey and talking this podcast and hopefully writing more. It's been busy, and this cybersecurity thing is like taking a toll of me. But I just want to be my best me, so that's the best I can do.
Yeah, exactly. It's all good, man. It is how it is. When I did stuff on my own too, for a little while, I mean, sometimes the alone time worked out for me, so it was all good. But yeah, so like we said, the Ducks, they ended up, winning this one. The funny stuff on social media, like we talked about, the dating thing was hilarious. Like we said, the Ducks social media, you guys have been doing great. Hilarious stuff going on there. A lot more engagement with the fans, which has been fantastic. And another good social media one is the Vegas Knights. And I know it's kind of interesting because I look at what people are saying. Like we talked about, we were joking about this. I think it was the last show. I talked about sitting on my park bench, right, and watching everybody go by doing their thing. So I always like to do that with these different social media accounts and watching the fans. And a lot of you cannot stand the Vegas Knights fans. It's funny. It cracks me up because when I went, and you guys all know, my mom passed away sadly, and my wife and I were in Vegas at the game. I can tell you honestly, the staff and the people that are around me, and all the people that I interacted with, I did not have one bad experience. I mean, even before I found that out, and then once people found out, it just was it was an ordeal. Just it is what it is. But I never had an issue. I mean, are they rowdy? Can they be annoying? Yeah, absolutely they can be. But I personally, I've been there for a couple games. I've never had a problem, and whatnot. So, I mean, it is what it is. I get it. Some people, they get pretty animated, which is true. And I like their social media account. It's pretty funny. But this game, and all the games this season, was the wildest game ever. I mean, it started out like nothing. You didn't think a lot was going to happen in this game in the beginning. There was no goals scored or anything. Then you had 6 goals scored in the second period. You had 5 goals scored in the third period. And man, the same thing happened though in this game though, Eddie, is the Ducks jumped out. They're up 4-1 late in the second period. And then almost blew it. You had they gave up 2 shorthanded goals, one late in the second period, one in the beginning of the third, and they came back and it looked like they put it away. They had an empty net goal by Lundestrom, and then of course Vegas still scores on a power play with 30 seconds to go, and it was a nail biter. And the Ducks ended up winning this one 6-5, which again we talked about that we want to win in regulation, which is huge to get those points, but I was really irritated with the special teams play in this game. It just made me mad. I did not like, and we'll talk about special teams play in a minute. The Ducks have been great all season and vastly improved on special teams. But this game, their special teams was terrible. They gave up 2 power play goals and 4 attempts for the Knights. They gave up 2 shorthanded goals, which was just ridiculous. It was atrocious. I mean, they killed the Knights 5-on-5, which was fantastic. And the Ducks have been a great 5-on-5 team, which we'll talk about. But this game was exciting, entertaining, but a little bit frustrating for me in that third period. Again, the Knights getting back in it, but the Ducks did pull it out and get the 2 points, in regulation, Eddie.
Yeah, this game was like one of the only games I actually got to semi-watch live. Usually, like, I had to catch up on games. Like, my schedule was busy. I caught the third period. I went to Laverne Brewing Company, so I want to shout them out. They had it on the big projector. Their owner is a big Ducks fan, hockey fan, so thank you for that. Like, it was like I got to watch the game like huge, but it was just like it seemed like at the end the Ducks kind of let off steam and they let them catch up. It just you can't really blame Stolarz for letting those goals in. The Ducks just I felt personally that they felt like they had to win and that they just couldn't go. Like I always said, if you're tied, if you're up, whatever, you always think in mentality 0-0. You can't play conservatively. You can't hold back. You just keep playing your way and win. Like Ducks played well, and they let Vegas catch up. Vegas is a struggling team right now. They're hurting. Yes, they're going to be good when Eichel comes back and healthy. They get everyone back. They're going to be dangerous. Right now they're struggling, and Ducks are kind of on fire. Like they've been moving up in the rankings. Our coach is he voted third for the Coach of the Year trophy. It wasn't one of those games where they should have let the Knights come back and just win this by 1 goal. It should have been a few goals. And it should have been an empty net goal for you to kind of get that. That's really frustrating for me. I know I have my my whole thing with I want the Ducks to not really tank, but I want them to kind of come back to reality and get a higher draft pick. But it's just if you're gonna play the game, play the game. If not, then what's the point of being there? It felt this game they just kind of let loose. I don't know if it's back to back games. They got tired or they just got complacent when they got up, but. This is back-to-back games where they blew a lead and they let the opponents come up, and they let 2 struggling or equally struggling opponents come up too. So that's what's frustrating me the most.
Yeah, I mean you're right about that. It was back-to-back, so there's a little bit of that in there. But like you said, you're playing the Kings and you're playing Vegas. Of course, rivalry games you kind of throw the records out and whatnot. I mean that's the way it is. But these teams aren't. They're not dominant teams. This is not the Kings of before when they were just crushing it. This is not the Knights of before either. This season has kind of been for them it's been a little bit disappointing actually because their fans are upset that they're not playing as well and whatnot. But you're right. My thing was the special team thing killed me. The 2 shorthanded goals back to back. I was legit pissed off watching this game when they were up 4-3 at that point. And they gave it the 2 shorthanded goals. I was like, what the hell are you guys doing? That just pissed me off. But they came back, and answered more goals. It looked like this thing was going to be over when it was 6-4. But then you get that late power play for the Knights, and they made it 6-5. They just would not die. the Knights would not die. But again, in this one too, another thing that irritated me is Aikens wasn't putting Zegras out there at the end. And that's the one thing that's kind of killing me too. Is I think Aikens has been doing a lot of good things. We'll talk about the team news and some lineup stuff here in a minute. We got a couple poll questions we're going to cover related to these games, but I don't know what it is with him. When the Ducks have a lead late, for some reason he doesn't like to put Zegras out there. And then we saw in the Kings game that he took Drysdale out after the Ducks made a couple of mistakes or whatnot. I mean, here's the thing. it's all about the process, right? This is what we're talking about. We're happy with wins. Yes, the Ducks have been in the top like 3 in the Pacific Division. They look like maybe they could make the playoffs and all this other stuff we'll get to. But the thing is, they didn't have a killer instinct in these 2 games against the Kings and the Knights. They could have blown these guys out by more. Or at least won by a couple goals instead of eking these games out. Which, I mean, I'm glad. We'd rather them win these games than lose. Where before they would probably let the teams come back and kill them. But no killer instinct, which is something we've talked about in seasons past. I mean, before the last 2 seasons, because the last 2 seasons they couldn't score worth anything. So we're kind of back to that problem a little bit. But then with Akins, he needs to trust these younger guys a little bit more. That's my thing, Eddie, is that, they're going to make mistakes and everything, but these guys got to gain that experience. If it's holding the lead or making a mistake and going out there and trying to play better defense or whatever it is, that's kind of my thing, is like these guys have to be able to play through controversy or a bad play or in key situations.
No, I totally agree. And Zegras, and I think I can speak for everyone, like he's a cocky little shit. But I love it. I love his charisma, and he has the skill to back it up. Like, I don't know if Akins is just like, he's that old school mentality a little bit, and I'm old school too. Like, I'm conforming my ways, and I agree. Like, hey, you have to earn your place, but someone as skilled and talented as Zegras, hell no, get his ass out there as much as possible. He's so fun to watch. Like, he's blowing up social media, NHL Network. Like, everyone's talking about how fun he is. He's making, like, I want to say, and I don't know if I'm being, like, too exuberant, but he's next Paul Kariya, I think, for the Ducks. Like, he's going to be one of those players that's going to, like, take the franchise over. He's going to be a franchise player, and he's so fun to watch. When he has the puck and what he can do, it's, like, it's crazy, and it's amazing. I don't know why, like, he's not putting him out there more. And this, like, my thing, he was nominated for, like, 3rd in the rankings for coaching, but it's like, bro, if you're gonna, like, keep doing that to him, like, I don't know, like, I get it. He's a rookie, he's cocky, he likes to talk a lot. Who cares? You have that much skill, put his ass out there, let him do his thing. Like, he's fun to watch. He's making the Ducks fun again. It's just like him and Terry, like, this team. Like, it's been down for a few seasons, and we've been critical on the Ducks, like, because we're not going to sit there and sugarcoat it and tell you, like, the best things when it's not happening. We're going to tell you the facts. But Zegras is one of those players. It's just like, holy shit, I love watching it. It's like, what do you do? Like, I'm showing, like, people that don't even like hockey, look at these moves, and they're, like, in awe about it. Like, he shouldn't be benched. He should be put in those high, like, stress situations. He's our next Getzlaf. Like, obviously, he's not the same player as Getzlaf, but he's going to be our franchise player, and he should be out there those high stress situations when we're down at the end of the game, when he's almost having a hat trick. Like, come on, put him out there, let him just do his thing, let him have fun. Like, he's only going to improve. If you guys think Jack Hughes is the next great one, dude, it's Trevor Zegras. I think he's going to be one of the top players in the league, and it's so fun, Mike. It's so fun. You and I and all the fans, we're seeing him develop into that player. Like, holy crap. Like, I wish I had a 0.01% of Zegras' skill. It'd be awesome.
I mean, and you saw that play where he made Doughty look silly, man. I mean, on that Kings game, he just blew by him. Milano couldn't tap it in on the play. But, I mean, he's doing stuff like that like every game, almost every other shift. He's doing crazy stuff that's like, he tried to score like that himself too. And I mean, it's been fantastic to watch him. Like you said, he's definitely going to be a franchise player and a leader for this team down the road. And I was bummed too when he had that chance to get a hat trick, and he didn't get to play a lot in that third period. It's like, dude, let him do his thing. Stop, just stop. And if he makes mistakes or whatever, and you have to bench him for a shift or something, okay, I get it. But when you're not putting him out there in critical situations or a chance to get a hat trick when the opponent's net is empty, that stuff, like, seriously pisses me off. And, you talk about Zegras. being, like a Korea type or Getzlaff type, a leader for this team. Well, I look at Drysdale, and to me, he's like a Scott Niedermayer type. That's who I look at when I see him. I mean, he's that kind of guy to me too. These two guys are going to be, they are the future of this team, period. And it's the future is now. I mean, they're going to be the guys that you're going to want out there every time, even if they make mistakes. And like I said, I get it. You want to take them out for here or there because of this or the other thing. But when you take a guy out and he's gone for most of a period or the last 5 minutes of a game because the other team scored a goal while he was on the ice or whatever, it's like, come on, dude. These are the two guys that they're going to have to develop even more. And the best way to develop these guys is having them play through a bad shift or whatever else is going on. I mean, have them go out there and do their thing. They have to be able to play in all situations. And I'm with you. I think these two are going to be phenomenal for this team in the years to come.
Exactly. I agree. Like, Zegras especially, he should be out there in all situations. Like, dude, I'm 14 years older than Zegras. He's only 20 years old. And I'm trying to at Michigan and my whole beer league team. I mean, I'm not that skilled. It's like hard for me to do it. I'm trying the moves. I see Zegras doing it. That's what he can do is amazing with the puck and how skilled he is. And Drysdale, I was so wrong last season thinking like, oh, Drysdale needs to go back to the juniors. No, hell no. He came into the league and he shut me the hell up. And I'm glad I was wrong about that. Drysdale looked amazing. It's just this team. I guarantee I don't want to say it this season. Like, I know we're not going to win the cup, and I'm sorry, fans, if you don't like that. We're not winning the cup this season, but in a few years, this team's going to be dangerous. It's like people come to California. These teams come to California. It's going to mean business. It's going to be crazy. I mean, it means business right now. Ducks are on fire. The Kings are on fire. San Jose is I don't know. They sank. They're in the water somewhere. I don't know, but. It's just, oh man, Zegras. I'm so glad that we got the pick that we did, and we picked him. He's amazing, and Drysdale too. It's just these two players. Like I would love to meet them and talk to, and Zegras too. Listening on the Spit and Chickens podcast, he has so much charisma. He's such a character. He's a good guy. We heard our coach talk about him. Like, he doesn't shut up. He's just one of those guys. Just he loves the game. He's having fun, and I know players like that. I have friends of friends that that know Bobby Ryan. That same charisma. It's that. It's just you want that in a locker room. You want that kind of person that just loosens everyone up and makes everyone have fun. Zegras is the type of player. Yes, he's a professional athlete, but when he comes to the rink and he goes in the ice, he's always having fun. Come on, he was telling Ryan O'Reilly like, I'll bet you $100 if whoever wins his face off, he won it, and then Ryan O'Reilly sends him $100 on Venmo, and then he does that with Drysdale, and Drysdale's like, oh, like, who the fuck are you? You're a rookie. It's just like this kid is he's a rookie. I don't know, Mike. I always have like an old school mentality about rookies, but this kid, it's just I love what he's doing. It's just awesome. It's amazing.
Well, you had the magic word in there, fun. I mean, that's what a lot of people are talking about. Watching this Ducks team is fun again, and that's the biggest thing. Even when they lose, they're still playing competitive hockey. You're seeing Zegras do all kinds of stuff on the ice. Like you said, he's a character off the ice, big personality. The Ducks social media is showing more of the personality too with the players. You even see on TV, you'll see them before they go back out on the ice. You see Drysdale and Zegras doing their little grunt and their little funny, moves and stuff like that before they go back on to the ice. So, I mean, it's just fun. Watching this team is fun, period. And it's really gotten people talking. I think the big thing now, and it's interesting because we didn't think they'd be in this position at the beginning of the season. Now they are. They're in a playoff type position. According to Money Puck, that's one that you can follow where they give you the odds or the percentages that the teams will make the playoffs. They have the Ducks at making the playoffs at 71.5% right now after these last couple games. So it's crazy. And we did a poll question on Facebook, and have 80% of you wanted the Ducks to make the playoffs. 10% said no, and the other 10% were unsure. And I kind of, just so you guys know the way I phrased it on there, because like Facebook, I like being able to do it because more characters and it's just easier to talk on there. But I asked if you guys wanted them to make the playoffs or if you felt getting a draft pick was more important. So that's the exact way that I worded it, and you guys are more for them making the playoffs and getting experience, like we were talking about with these younger guys and everything like that. Which I was surprised. That it was that high, because Eddie and I have talked about this, and I'm kind of in the middle on this. I mean, I didn't want them to make it in the beginning of the season. Now that I see it, I'm kind of excited that if they made it, but I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one because, we've talked about them getting the draft pick and going in there. And I know Eddie's brought this up, and this is a good point. One of you brought up, Davey said that, quote, they'll never win with this squad. It's great seeing them win frequently, but it'd be better to get a young star forward than an embarrassing first-round sweep. And I think that's my concern is that they get in there and they get swept out right away. Then it's like, well, okay, what experience did they really get in the playoffs? You went in and got your butts kicked and knocked out in 4 games? Not saying that would happen. I would hope it wouldn't happen if they make it. Of course I want them to win and do all that. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not against them making it. It would be awesome if they did and they go in there and everything like that. But there's a lot of stuff. It's early, of course, too. Some of you mentioned that on Facebook. That's still, a lot of time. But just bringing that up now because I know a lot of people are talking about it now. I see a lot of people posting things about the Ducks making playoffs, being the top team. We're a quarter of the way through the season. Obviously a long way to go. But it's the topic now, and that's why I bring it up to see what people think. But there's things that have to come together, too. Like we said, you don't have Max Jones right now. He may not come back at the end of the season. Maybe if the Ducks made the playoffs, it depends. I told you in the previous podcast that injury is pretty brutal. I've had a couple of my own friends go through it. You have Comtois that's out. Getzlaf, we're not sure now what's going on. McTavish was sent down. So when Davey's talking about with this squad, I mean, yeah, the other part of it is the trade deadline, which we're not really going to go into that, but that's going to be coming up. And then you have the GM issue, right? You have Solomon in there, but is he going to stay into the whole season? How's that going to work out? I mean, there's just so many variables right now that for me, I'm a little bit more on, if they make it, it'd be cool, but I'm just really, really torn right now because there's a lot of things that need to happen in the next couple months for me to be like, yeah, let's go for it, or like, no, let's not. But I know, Eddie, you're more on the other side. You kind of think, hey, what's the point of getting in and just getting knocked out in the first round? Whoop-de-doo. Let's try and get another pick and build on this, because we also don't know what Getzlaf's going to do next season. And we also have Raquel, Manson, and Lindholm to figure out. I mean, there's just a lot. This isn't a simple discussion.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's really not easy to talk about. My best friend, since third or fourth grade, and my roommate, he's a big basketball fan, and he was talking to me yesterday about that. And we had the same discussion, about the Ducks winning last night. I was like, I don't want them to win. I want them to start coming back to reality and losing and getting a higher draft pick. He's like, but dude, if they make the playoffs, you have all your young guys getting that experience, and that's going to help them build for the future. And I get what he said, so thank you, Josh, for that. But playoffs is a different animal. It's totally different. Like whatever sport you play beer league hockey, you play softball, you play basketball, you play football. In beer leagues, rec leagues, pro leagues, playoff intensifies. I just can't see the Ducks doing that right now. I can't we have Delorier and Manson as our main guys, but that's not enough. We need more grit. We need more depth. Gibson, he can't do it all. He's a fantastic goalie. I think he's probably one of the top 3 goalies in the league. But it's only so much you can take. Look at Montreal last season. They had Carey Price playing lights out, but at the end of the day, skill comes more, and I can't see this team doing that. I hope I'm wrong. Like, I love being wrong when I talk about the Ducks, but I'm over here talking about reality. It's just I can't see it happening. I don't want the Ducks to sit there and tank purposely. It seems like the Senators are tanking purposely with the whole skate blade. Oh no, actually Colorado skate blade. Never mind. But yeah, wrong team. But I don't know. It's kind of like I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place because I want my team to do well, but I don't want them to like you said, like to fall out in the first round. We get a mid draft pick. Like we have to think about the future. We have to think about what we're gonna do. We have Drysdale and Zegras are gonna lead this team to something, but is it something right now? Like, do you want to make trades? Do you want to be like New Jersey and make big splashes and then just be a piece of crap team like they are right now? No, it's not worth it. I don't think it's worth it at all. I think we should just Ducks should keep playing the game, improving what they need to do. We have a good foundation right now and build from that. Man, Mike, it's so hard to talk about this. Like, I really, like, as a fan, I want them to, but as being your co-host and being part of DucksNPucks, like, I have to, like, think of the reality of it, and I don't want them to. I think reality needs to hit. Ducks can't sustain this kind of momentum, and I hope they do, and I hope they prove me wrong. If they're Stanley Cup champion, like, I'll send like 4 jerseys out to fans. Like, it's one of those things where I'm actually stuck on this podcast right now. Like damn it, like I'm biting my tongue. Like I don't know how to respond to it. Like I don't want to sound like a piece of crap, but it's hard.
No, I mean, it is hard. I mean, you're looking at this right now, and the way that they're playing is great. And we'll talk about some of the stuff right now with like what's going on with the team stats and what's going well and why it is. But yeah, it's not an easy thing. You don't know who the GM's going to be in the future. Is it going to be Solomon? Is it going to be somebody else? That's like a huge part. What direction they're going to go? You still have the trade deadline to get through. You got to figure out. You got these injuries of different players and things. There's still a lot to figure out. But I just threw it out there because I saw a lot of people talking about it. People were excited. They're a fun team to watch. They're scoring goals. They're winning these crazy games, which is good. So I mean, I'm with you. I'm still kind of in the middle. Kind of want to wait and see. I mean, if they make it, of course, I want them to make it and play well and go all the way. But it's a long season. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, and I'm just hoping that biggest thing for me is for them to get healthy, and that's kind of where we're at with the team right now. Some of the updates we had Johnny Burick. He asked, what is going on with Comtois? Well, Comtois, we found out, had a hand issue with a bone that had to be removed. And that's probably why he wasn't doing as well, because we were like, why is he not playing and scoring as well? Well, he had some kind of issue with his hand, and we've talked about this. When you have that, I mean, you're talking about now you're shooting, you're passing, you're trying to squeeze or grip on the stick, things like that. He had some kind of a bone issue, so that was a problem. So he is out for 6 weeks. Henrique dislocated his finger, but he came back. I've actually done that before too. I actually did it where I bent my ring finger in a 90-degree angle playing football, and that was horrible. And I had the trainer pop it back in, and I just went back and ran out there on the field and did what I had to do. But they taped my fingers together is what they did for that, and it's all good now. This is several years ago, but that's another issue that can affect your play. So it looks like Henrique, though, it was, I think, Eric Stevens said it was his pinky finger, so not as bad, right? So it seems like he's okay. But now we have Getzlaf. He's got the ankle injury. Who knows how long he's going to be out. So that's kind of where the injury stuff is at right now with this team. So that's something you have to kind of be concerned about and see who's all going to come in and fill in those gaps. We've got Carrick has been going up and down between the teams. Leterrier's been doing the same thing. They're taking the train or the 5 freeway. I don't know what. I mean, some of them are paper transactions too. There's been some of that going on as well. But they keep bringing these guys up and down, trying to fix keep the lineup with enough players and whatnot. So that's one issue that you got to look at. But if we're looking in terms of how they're playing, I mean, the Ducks, they're playing well in a lot of categories. If you're looking at their goal scoring. We talked about that, right? The magic number 3. If they score 3 goals or more, they pretty much win almost every game, or at least get a point in overtime or a shootout. And they've done that in 2/3 of the games they played this season. Phenomenal. In terms of like their goals for statistic, they're 12th at 5-on-5. They're killing it. 5-on-5. Raquel, Milano, and Zegras have been kicking ass at 5-on-5, especially in these last couple games. They're just dominating the shot attempts. You had Milano and Zegras getting 3 assists each in that last game. I mean, just crazy. So they're doing real well 5-on-5. Special teams, the power play's 3rd in the league when we've been like last or second to last, right? At 27.1%, and the penalty kills tied for 8. So I mean, they're doing really well statistically, but the concerns are some of the things that we've already brought up on this show, Eddie, is injuries, not being able to hold leads, that killer instinct. And the other big one that you talked about, which is big for playoffs, is that grit or physical play. There's some of it there, but sometimes it's not always there. So a lot of things are going in the right direction. The teams, they're winning games, or they're barely losing games. They're scoring goals. They're doing a lot of positive stuff. But there are some injuries slowing down the team. They've had to change the lineup a little bit because of that. Akins has done a couple weird things late in the games, like we talked about, not giving some of those guys their chances. So that's where the team's at right now. I mean, what are you seeing, Eddie? I mean, like we said, they're scoring, they're playing well in special teams. I mean, any other things that you would add, like what you think that they could do better, or maybe they're not doing as well at?
Holding leads, not playing that full game, but you know what, dude, Mike, I've been having fun watching this team. It's been amazing. Terry, I've been like crying and harping on him. Like he since he was in DU. Like I know, like Sakic coached him too. He's a big. He grew up in Colorado. He's a Colorado fan. Like I shared a picture too on DucksNPucks of him being a Colorado fan. So if you're getting coached by Joe Sakic, and Joe Sakic saw potential in you, like, dude, you're a good player, and he's like putting up there. Like this guy, like he's about to be a 20 goal scorer, and I want to say this season he'll be a 30 goal scorer. Regardless, like of what the team's gonna do or whatnot, it's fun to watch. This is like, I don't know, like the last time you remembered, Mike, besides like that one game where we were like highly inebriated when Deloria scored that hat trick, we had fun watching the Ducks play. But I think all fans are in agreement. This season has like changed our like perspective. Yes, I still think it's not a playoff team, but yeah, in the back of my mind, as a true fan and not like doing a podcast or not being part of DucksNPucks, yeah, I want Ducks to win. I think they oh yeah, they're winning the Stanley Cup. It's just it's something fun. It's something like different. Ducks are improved in all categories from last season. It's amazing. Like, and man, sometimes I'm speechless. I'm talking to my buddies, like, dude, what's going on with Ducks? Like, I don't even know. Like, all my buddies like that listen to the show, shout out to you guys. Thank you for listening to the show. I know I'm like weird, I'm boring, but whatever. But they always ask me all these questions, like, what's going on with the Ducks? Like, I don't know. Like, there's something is like going on, and it's led by Zegras and Drysdale and stuff like that. I do want to give a shout out real quick too before I forget. I forgot. There's a Beanface 52. I tried to message him to get the actual like his I guess the wife or not wife but engagement stuff. But they're having some wedding stuff going on, engagement and stuff like that. Save the date, and they asked us if we would share it. So if you guys are listening, congratulations to you. Message us back on DucksNPucks. We'll give you a shout out. For sure, share your pictures and we'll give you a shout out. And I wish you guys everlasting happiness and love.
Yeah, fantastic. The same here. Long live, their marriage and how everything that's going to happen. I mean, that's fantastic for them. I know there's been a couple other fans that have gotten married recently too, and congrats to them. There's some other fans that have had kids too and everything. So it's just wonderful seeing that. I wish the best to everybody. And then like Eddie said, if you want a shout out, for sure, just send us anything. If you want to just tell us, we can post it. If you have photos you want to send, anything like that, we're more than happy to share that stuff.
An article too.
Yeah, if we can write something up too. I mean, the sky's the limit, man. So I'm happy for them and everybody else that's, like I said, been getting married recently or planning to get married or had little ones that they brought into to this world. So fantastic. I think what you talked about this with the Ducks and the fun and all that, it's kind of a fan question that came up, and I think this is part of the answer to that, Eddie, is we had Leaper Zach on Instagram ask, do you think without Bob Murray the team can be themselves? And I think we can already answer that. I think the answer is yes, because you see the way that these players are acting and the things that they're doing. The team is more loose. They are having more fun. Like I said, you see the guys messing around before they're going onto the ice between the intermissions. You see Zegras going on different podcasts and cracking jokes, and Getzlaf's been doing stuff too, and everybody's been out there doing their thing, and you're seeing more personality of this team. Murray's old school, as we talked about, and and he's not on social media, and at least unless he's got these little hidden account, but he never officially had an account that I know of. He was more old school. So I think with him gone, I think the team is absolutely being themselves, and I think it's made it more fun and enjoyable for us as the fans, for them as a team, and the players. They all love playing for Coach Akins. I've never heard them say anything bad. I mean, I just question some of the things late in the games when he's not letting the younger guys out there to get that experience. But in terms of the way things have gone, it's been great. And you even seen Akins get into it. You remember the other night, the Ducks didn't get 5 goals, and he was making a joke about how the team let the fans down and Terry and some of the players because they didn't get free chicken for the fans. I mean, that was freaking hilarious. Like, you seeing him come out with personality too. So absolutely, I think a big part of it, Eddie, is that Murray is gone.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I told you before. I think Murray is using his. You know what? Let's skip that. But you know what? Akins, his old chicken thing, seeing his personality is awesome. Like, awesome. And Chick-fil-A too. Like, have you tried that, Mike? Like, I tried it a few times, or I tried to actually have it. It's just the lines are too long, so I can't even get that. So I can't get my whole free chicken.
I've actually had it a couple times. A couple people at work have brought it in and stuff like that. No, it's fantastic. They have this little chicken biscuit thing that's I guess it's a breakfast thing, I think, but it's fantastic. I love it. I think it's great. I mean, it tastes good. I mean, I'm like you though. I don't go try to go there because the line is ridiculous. The line's almost as bad as going to In-N-Out. It's crazy. You have to go at an off time or something. But yeah, it's good. I mean, I like it. I mean, I'm not crazy about it, but it's good. And I think it's just been refreshing to see this team, rejuvenated and all the stuff going on. So I think that was a great question they asked about that. And I know we had Crisp Barry asked about what do we think about the rebuild so far this year? We kind of already talked about all that. It doesn't really seem too much like a rebuild, but now, because I mean they're starting to win and all this craziness is going on. But I mean, I love how the way the season's going. Like we said, it's you look at all these categories. They're playing better in special teams. They're doing outstanding 5-on-5. They're scoring goals. They're not playing complete games and they're blowing some leads here, things like that. Certain things like that. Sometimes a little bit too many turnovers in some of these games too. I didn't really mention that too much, but there's a couple times we've seen that kind of bite them, and especially during the losing streak. But I think it's great. Overall, everything that we've seen has been fantastic. I think the only thing really is trying to get more people to the games, which is what we had Bradley HNADAL asked, about getting more people to the game. Well, it's kind of a problem. I mean, now that I've gone to a couple games, and Eddie, you've gone to a couple, but it's really a lot of the rules that are set up right now, unfortunately, and it's not the Ducks' fault, but you have to, if you got your vaccine, you have to show proof of that. If you forgot, then you got to go get a test, or if you didn't get it, you got to get a test, and you have to pay $40 to take this test. And then if you don't want to do that, then you have to give your insurance card and all this other personal information, everything, which I know people don't like doing that. So that's part of the problem. You have these hurdles to get people in there. And it's kind of a pain in the ass. It's not, like I said, it's nothing on the Ducks. It's not what they can do. It's a lot of it's state of California stuff. So that's just a problem, getting people there to get in. And I know people that have canceled their tickets, before the season. They probably wish they didn't now that the Ducks are winning, and they bounced out on the games. But that's been a problem, trying to get more people there. That's been an issue because if you're paying for these tickets and parking, and then you got to tell me I got to spend $40 to take a test. I mean, that's the money I'm spending on my beer or my food or whatever else I was going to get inside the game. So a little bit unfortunate situation. There was a crap ton of people, though, I'll tell you, on that Black Friday game. That place was a madhouse. There were a lot of fans there. I know it's a holiday, early game, so maybe it was easier for some people, but that one was pretty good. It was pretty crowded. So I think if the Ducks keep winning and playing, I think they'll get more people there, Eddie.
Great question. I love the question, and it's unfortunate. Like, my thing is, I don't care. I don't give a shit. If 0 fans go and you and I are at the game, that's all that matters. Like, I go to the game to watch the game. I don't care who's there, who's not. Like, I see Jen. I see like everyone else I see. That's cool. This whole rules and restrictions, I'm not gonna get like too deep into that. I think it's bullshit. But like I always say, fake it till you make it. I'm not gonna go into more detail than that. But it's it's just this whole the whole rules and regulations are kind of hindering it. It sucks, and the fans that so listen that cancel their tickets, I respect that. I respect you, but this team's fun to watch right now, and it's unfortunate that we don't have more fans because of those restrictions. Bradley, it's a great question, and I don't know how to discuss that without going into further detail. They don't have more of the staff too, so if you sit in the 400 levels, aka the peasants, what I call it, because I'm a peasant too, you're not getting the same representation. You have to fight for a beer, fight for the restroom now. It's just, I don't know. I think the restrictions need to be lifted. Everyone has a choice. We all have a choice to drive a car. I know it's not the same thing, and I apologize if I'm offending anyone, but it's just one of those things where it's a professional sporting event. I think everyone shouldn't have to be subjected to showing a card or a fake vaccine card or a test. It's just, I think that's the biggest determining factor of what's going on this season. I think if it wasn't for that, the stadium would be packed out a lot more, especially how the Ducks are playing this season. But hey, we're here. We're making the best of it. And I'm not trying to downplay any of your beliefs, or I'm not trying to shat on your guys' yourself like that. So I'm just telling you my opinion, and I mean, I'm not right, I'm not wrong, so it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, without getting political and all the other crap or whatever, because we don't like to get into that stuff on this show. We're more about sports, but I mean, there's barriers to getting into the games, and there are barriers that are not within the team's control, unfortunately. I'm just going to leave it at that. But some of you, we've talked offline about this. I'm more than happy to talk about specific things and go into stuff, but I'll leave it at that. I mean, we're rocking and rolling on this. So now with the Ducks playing well too, we haven't talked about the minor league stuff as much, and they're just killing it. So the future is very bright for the Ducks. And if your argument is, hey, let's make the playoffs, I don't care about draft picks, well, I guess this is for you to make that argument. The goals are now back on winning. Since the last show, they've won 5 in a row at the time of recording this. Perot is killing it with 15 points. Tracy's got 14 points. They're just going nuts down there in the goals. They're playing really well, but so are the junior prospects too. You had McTavish, as I talked about earlier in the show. He goes down. He scores a hat trick in his first game down there. We'll break down some of these points here. Pasterjov, he's got 32 points in 21 games. Zellwinger's got 18 points in 17 games. It's just crazy. You got Schaugal's got 23 in 18 games. Just nuts. A lot of these guys are just destroying stuff. I mean, they're just killing it. You had Braden Tracy was the player of the week in the AHL. Chagall was he also had a hat trick too, and he was a player of the week in the WHL. You had Moore and Pasterjov made Team USA for the World Juniors. You had McTavish and Zellweger make it for Team Canada. I'll admit I don't get all the time in the world to watch the minor league stuff and junior stuff. I don't get all that on the TV and whatnot, or I don't have the streams or whatever. But I see a lot of the highlights and stuff, and I try to catch some of the goal stuff here and there. But I mean, there's just a shit ton of talent coming up for the Ducks. So, like, if you're one of those that's like, I don't give a shit about the draft picks, we have all these guys. You're absolutely right. We have a ton of these guys. And we had somewhere here, I think we had a fan question about if Perreault was going to be called up. And I know a lot of people were talking about that. I'm surprised he hasn't been, to be honest. I thought he would be one of them, especially now. I don't know, maybe with Getzlaf being out and we don't know how long he might come up there. But I mean, damn, Eddie, if you're not excited about watching the Ducks, you got the goals that are tearing it up, and then you got all these prospects in the minor leagues that, holy crap, they're just scoring points left and right.
Oh, yeah, Perreault, 15 points. I think it's 15 games. He needs to be called up, like, ASAP. Like, Getzlaf's out. Like, I don't know if they're, like, kind of marinating him in the minors, but I think he's proved enough already in the minors what he can do. I want to see what we can do in AHL, and we you know what? Well, why not? Like, you have to like throw them up and see what they can do. This team's going to be built on young guys. He's one of those, and I think he's like more than enough proved himself. He's been he's been named like player of the game. He's been going bananas and crazy. Like, call him up. I know Buddy Robinson got called up, his first call up for the Ducks. I know everyone's saying who. I hate that response. Like, come on, guys, Google, but we'll help you out. He's he had 4 points this season, 2 goals, 2 assists. Big right winger, 6'6". He played for the Flames and the Sens. He's just one of those depth guys. I wish I would have saw him in action. Big guy. I mean, obviously he's not going to be a determining factor or a game changer. He's not going to be a superstar, but he's one of those guys you probably want in your lineup. He can, he just get in front of the net and cause like havoc. But I think Perreault's for that question to be answered, I think Perreault should, he will be called up this season. It's not he should, he will. It's just, Getzlaf's out. He's had 15 points. If I'm the GM right now, I'd call him up and just like put him in a few games and see how he does in the NHL level. But I'm not the GM, so.
I know. I'm with you though. I mean, him and Tracy, they've been doing well down there. I mean, if you're gonna bring a guy up, and let him get into the mix, that's what I would go with, either one of those for sure. So, but like I said, tons of action. These guys are just destroying it on the points, just killing it. So if you are able to watch it, great. If not, you can see the highlights. A lot of people are posting it on Twitter and other social media and whatnot. So a lot of good stuff, a lot of good hockey going around this Ducks organization, and they've been fun to watch, as we've talked about at all the levels now. So with that, it brings us basically to our last section where we talk about the league news. There's a little bit we'll cover about the Ducks too, because there's kind of some trade rumor, maybe possibly with the Bruins. But before we get to that, let's talk about my other team that I like, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Eddie, they brought back the old school jersey with the writing of Pittsburgh on it, and I can't stand it. A lot of this discussion will actually be about jerseys in this section around the league news and stuff. But I guess with Pittsburgh, this is our first one, and I don't know. I don't like it, man. I like the Penguin. I don't like the damn words.
That jersey reminds me of Snoop Dogg with his little afro, him doing a little bike in that video.
Yes.
You know what, Mike? I'm gonna defer. I actually like that. I thought you would like it too. Like I'm one of those people. I know a lot of fans don't like it. I know you don't like it, but I think it's cool. I think it's like going back to original roots. I think the jersey's cool. Snoop Dogg's the biggest bandwagon fan, but it's Snoop Dogg. No one can hate him. He's just like awesome. So and you know what's funny and ironic? They're gonna debut that jersey on December 11th when they play the Ducks. So if you guys want to be gangster, I think Snoop Dogg claims script, so everyone wear blue or something if you get stabbed. I'm just kidding about that.
You're cracking me up, man.
Dude, I don't know.
You're too funny, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's weird that they're going to be wearing that too when they play against the Ducks on the 11th. So I always like to watch those games. That'll be a Saturday game, an early game, so I'll be watching it. But yeah, I don't know, man. And then you talked about this earlier today, a little bit on the show. We mentioned Jack Hughes just because of the stick throwing incident. What did you think? Crap, they have a third jersey too. There's a lot of jersey talk in this thing. But what did you think about his extension and the jersey? Whichever, go for it.
Oh, for the Devils? Oh my. Okay, you know what? Jack Hughes. I think he's a. I said before he was a bust. Like I could see him being like a better player. So I'll retract my words for that. I just don't see him right now being an 8-year, $8 million player. And yes, I know fans are flipping out. I've seen him play. I watch hockey a lot. I'm not one of those guys that sit there and just watch one game and think I'm freaking an analyst. I apologize, Mike. That's 2 F words in one show. But he has 55 points in 120 games. I know he deserves a big contract, but I think sufficient. I don't know. It's just it's too big right now. And New Jersey's gambling. Yes, if he becomes that superstar that they hope that he's going to be, it's going to be a great contract, like Draisaitl. It's going to be awesome. But if he doesn't, it's going to be a bust. I really hope he does. I love he reminds me of Zegras too. He has that charisma. He has that spunk, that cocky attitude. Me as an old school fan, I hate that, but I love it right now. I love seeing Jack Hughes, his cockiness, the way he talks, his interview, the way he plays. I love that. It reminds me of Zegras. But I think I don't know. I think it's a big contract. It's too soon. And also, too, Mike, they had their third jersey announced, and it just says jersey. What the hell? Should we? I don't know. It's that jersey was fine. I thought it was a joke, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna hate on a lot of jerseys in this segment of the show, man. I just I can't stand the lettering thing on the Penguins, and then the Devils come out with a jersey that says jersey, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? That's your jersey. It says jersey. I was with you, and I saw that. I was like, really? And then the design is just it's just boring. It's a black jersey with some white lines on the sleeve around the elbow area, and then some on the shoulder. I mean, it's just boring. What is this? This is just trash. I don't know. I just, a lot of these jerseys kill me, and then right before we recorded too, the Predators came out with their jersey. You want to talk about crap, dude. That jersey is horrible. And I made that joke on Twitter that we decided to help them out design it so their fans could be happy. Well, mission accomplished for us, making their jersey look like crap. I mean, we didn't. It's a joke. But there's with the Smashville on the front. I mean, their thing looks like a joke too. I'm like, what is with all these ugly ass jerseys lately? It's just terrible. I look at the Nashville one, and it almost reminds me of Notre Dame or something. It looks like it should be some college football jersey or something. I don't know. It's just horrible. And so is the Devil jersey. I mean, if you guys are gonna make third jerseys, I don't know. The league needs to hire someone to make the third jerseys or something for the entire league, because these three, the Penguins, Devils, and Nashville, they're horrible, Eddie. I would burn them all. There's you couldn't give me these jerseys free. That's how bad these jerseys are. They're trash. I hate to bag on them so badly, but seriously, what are you guys doing?
Oh, Smashville, that's terrible. I tweeted to Mike Grinelli of Spit and Chicklets, like, dude, you have to like start like designing jerseys. These jerseys are bad. One thing, the Bolts, Tampa Bay Lightning, they had a jersey that got released too. It wasn't that bad. I actually liked it. I thought it was great. But this whole Smashville jersey, like, I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm waiting for the Devils just to really ream on them, but it just. I'm glad that we have our jerseys right now. I know people don't like the whole D black, the D white, and the whole orange Mighty Ducks, but I think Ducks have one of the top 10 jerseys in the league. I'll say that.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. And then just continuing, like the Olympics, they came out with all these jerseys. They're all fugly too. What is going on? These jerseys for like Team Canada, USA, Sweden, they all look like crap. I'm sorry. They're horrible. What did you think of these Olympic jerseys? I just don't like them. They're just boring.
Well, not Finland. Like Finland looks like
that's the exception. You're right.
Yeah.
That one is the exception. I do like the Finland one. I'm with you on that, but the rest, no.
Yeah, USA. Like I didn't know like USA is playing for soccer. Like it's horrible jerseys. Like you guys had a perfect design. We had a perfect. Yeah. We're all Americans. We had a perfect design, and they just effed it up. I have no idea what's going on with the jerseys, but. Like, if I had my bet to pick on who's going to win the Olympic gold, I want to pick Finland because of their jerseys right now.
Yeah, and Teemu Selanne would be happy with that. So we got to go with Finland on the jerseys. But no, if you haven't seen them, go look them up and check them out. I'm looking at them right now. The Canadian one is like it's got the leaf on there. But they're boring. It's just like it's either red, white, or black, and then a couple stripes on the shoulders, and then across the bottom. The USA ones, I'm with Eddie, looks like soccer. Sweden's like the Canadian ones. It's got like their little crowns in the middle, and then just a couple lines. Just they're all simple and boring. And then the Finland one looks pretty cool because it's got the dragon in there. I mean, it's pretty cool. I like it. Yeah, that one I like. It looks good, but. I don't know. I mean, I hate to hate on jerseys, but Jesus, guys, like, get your shit together. Like, this stuff. This isn't soccer or football. This is hockey. Make this stuff look good.
And you want to make money too. Like, holy shit. Like, honestly, the only jersey I'd probably buy right now is that Finland one.
Me too.
And I'd probably get a Selanne one, even though he's not playing that like in the Olympics. Like, it's just come on, guys. Like, you have to do better than that. Like, our jerseys. For hockey, jerseys are important. Like the whole ads and stuff, like that's gonna happen next season. Like it just you have to understand us hockey fans. Like we're like a different breed. Like we're like one in a million. I want to say like, and you guys are giving us product like that. Come on, like we have more self-respect. We have more pride to wear that jersey. Like every hockey fan that puts a jersey on, like we walk out of our house. And we go to a bar, we go to a restaurant, we just put it on like in our house, and we wear it with respect and pride. And you guys are putting like product out like that? Hell no. And Nike, dude, you guys are done. You guys should never make hockey jerseys in your life, especially you guys do that crap out of China, and you make little kids like make your crap. Like Nike should never be part of like sports at all, in my opinion. Like Adidas has been doing a decent job. But I miss Reebok. I think Reebok hit it out of the park. I think Reebok was the best hockey jersey manufacturer person, and that helped design jerseys ever.
Yeah, I'm with you. I definitely Reebok or Adidas. Definitely over these Nike nonsense. But anyways, you can check out the jerseys. If you think we're wrong and you love these jerseys, hey, let us know. But I'm pretty sure you go look at all of them. You'll see what we're seeing and be like, really? They're either ugly or they're just really simple and boring. I'm sorry, that's what they are. They just, I mean, come on, guys, design something I want to buy and wear. It's a big deal, like Eddie said. All right, enough ranting on the jerseys. Didn't really mean to go off on it, but there was a lot of new jerseys and Olympic stuff coming out, so we kind of went off on it. Yeah, I know. But let's talk a little bit about trade rumors and some stuff going on with Boston. So we have Jake DeBrusk. He requested a trade out of the Bruins. So that got a lot of you talking on social media. A lot of you are all in, like, oh my God, let's trade Henrique for DeBrusk. Let's get all crazy, let's trade this guy or that guy. Yeah, I mean, if he came to the Ducks, yeah, cool. But I'm not like some of these other people that are like, oh my god, like this guy is going to help the team, and like, like we got to get him. I mean, yeah, he had some great seasons. Don't get me wrong. 16 goals and 17-18, and then he had 27 and 18-19 season, and then 19 and 20 season, and then he kind of fell off in the last couple seasons. But I mean, he's a guy that can provide offense. We've been talking about injuries, right? With Jones out, Comtois out for at least 6 weeks. We don't know how long Getzlaf's going to be out. You sent McTavish back down, so you're not going to bring him up. You don't want to burn that. So, I mean, if you're looking for a forward, and this is a guy that we're talking about, he's available, should the Ducks try and get him? I mean, yeah. I mean, test the waters and see if you can get him for a decent deal. But, to me, it's not really a big deal at all. I mean, we've got so much other stuff to worry about. Trying to trade Raquel, Lindholm, or Manson, or re-sign them. You got to figure that out, and do that kind of stuff, and see where you go from there. So, yeah, it's an option. Would I explore it? Yes, but for me, Eddie, it's not the end of the world if the Ducks don't get him. And if the Ducks do get him, they're not going to make us a contender overnight.
Yeah, with him, he has a lot of potential, and I like his play style, and he's fell off the depth chart for Boston, but I don't think that, like, if we get him, like, the Ducks are gonna really, like, go over that hump. And he's not one of those players. He'll fall off the depth chart. He'll be in the third line. It's not the right move for us. Like, we shouldn't do that. I mean, I think he's worth maybe a third round pick, but we can get a third round pick and bring in a better player, a younger player that can gel with the team. He's a great player. He has a lot of potential. I don't think it's for the Ducks right now. I don't think we should pursue that. Especially like right now we're in like that limbo. Like, we don't know what we're doing. We have no idea like where the Ducks are or where we are. We're in that little like middle space. It's one of those things. Is we should pass on that, and I don't think we should make any big moves until we get an actually established GM. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, the other thing too is his contract is up this year. He is an RFA, but still, I mean, it's some things you got to figure out and work out. And his contract's $3.6 million. I mean, are you going to pay that for the guy right now? I mean, if he produces like the old DeBrusk, well then yeah. But is he, or is he going to stay where he's at right now? I'm not a big fan, of that price tag. So I mean, if they're going to retain salary and throw some stuff in there and maybe you work it out and whatnot, okay. But I don't know. A lot of people are getting all crazy about this guy, and I'm like, okay, he's not going to help make or break the team. I mean,
a lot of people that don't know really hockey are getting crazy about him. If you really like study the game of hockey and know how Ducks play, and like how he plays, it's just like it's not going to work out. Yeah, like 3 years ago, yeah, I get crazy about him too. But right now, like, come on, guys, like if you guys really follow hockey, right now it's not going to work.
Yeah, and just one thing I was saying too is that 3.6 is the cap hit. His actual salary is 4.8. So I just want to clear that up real quick. So you're talking about 4.8 million for this guy? Are you sure? I mean, yeah, it's easy to pass unless, like I said, they're going to do something. 4.8 million salary, 3.6 cap hit. Yeah, I don't know. And he's got 3 goals right now in 18 games. I mean, and he didn't really do much of anything the season before. He had 5 goals in 41 games. I mean, so what? He's on pace to maybe get 12 goals this season for almost 5 million. No.
And I get it, change the scenery, but I don't think he's the right one. And I know Brewski, he asked what would be a good pickup for the Ducks at the trade deadline. Me personally, no one. I want Ducks to do anything, but if I had to answer that question, I think a person like Conor Garland from Vancouver would be good. He's feisty, he can score. Like he's one of those, like, he's kind of a Corey Perry kind of guy. I could see him being that potential. So that's kind of player that I would like to bring in, but it's just as far as him, like no DeBrusk. It's just, I can't see it fitting on the Ducks.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of one that I would pass on. I mean, that's the way I look at it. And like you said, yeah, I mean, the trade deadline's far away. Conor Garland would be interesting. I mean, he's got 18 points in 24 games. You're looking at a guy that, could be a 20-25 goal scorer, potentially. I mean, he had 22 a couple seasons ago, and he had 12 in the shortened season last year, half a season. You want to look for someone that's a little bit more consistent. I do think DeBrusk gets traded and gets a better scenery, and that would help him out. But I'm not like goo goo gaga over this guy. I don't think that bringing him in is really going to do much for this team. I mean, like I said, if you can get him to retain some of the salary and get a really good deal, then okay. But I don't think. The other thing is he wants out. So, Boston's not necessarily in the driver's seat on that. So maybe you could take advantage of it and do it. But I mean, it's not a big thing for me. Moving along, the other thing out of Boston, what'd you have? You had Marchand got suspended for a slew foot. And Eddie, I know you are not happy about this because Subban is like the slew foot king this year. He did it to Zegras and just got fined.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like Subban got he a $15,000 fine, and then like Marchand gets suspended. Like what the hell? Like Subban's like this like the slew foot king. Like it's just like it's stupid. Like, it's just, I don't know, Mike. Like what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I thought for sure when Subban did that move against Zegras, I was hoping he was going to get suspended like not a lot, but maybe a game or two, and then it was just the fine. I'm like, really, dude? And it's not so much that it was that he did it to Zegras and that was it, but he's done it a couple times. Like, this is not a one-time thing. Like, are you guys going to stop the behavior or not? Because that money doesn't mean jack. It's like that money to him is like, $50 to us or something. It's like it's not a lot, It's not a big deal. I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. Some of the inconsistencies we've seen now. Zegras with the stick over the thing, then this, but then Marchand gets one, not Subban. I mean, it's like, come on. I mean, we've been on. I'm not going to harp on player safety, but we've been on them for a while about that. So just something to look at. I don't know, Eddie. It's just kind of frustrating.
No, I will. But like player safety is a joke. George Peros is a joke. I used to like him. Like he was, like he was a Duck. Like he helped someone Stanley Cup too. Like his physical play that season. But I think right now he's a piece of shit. I think he's trying to prove something, and he's not running it right. The referee, it's terrible. It's like what's going on in the league is just horrible. And you have like freaking Rod Bendamore talking shit to the refs. He gets $25,000 fine because he was like being mean, and then like I get it. Like Marchand said something about like Russia to Panarin. He and everyone blew it out of proportion, trying to like saying he's like xenophobic and being racist. No, he wasn't. He was just talking shit. This is hockey. You talk crap. Every sport you play, you always talk crap. End of the day, you shake hands and you move like forward. Like, I just don't know what's going on with this sport. And Marchand's like said it. This is like the softest league in the world now, and it just sucks to say that it is. Like I'm afraid to say things on this podcast, Mike, because like one bad thing I could say, it's like I'm canceled. No, it's true though. It's like bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way things have been going. What about Lemieux and the Kings? What did you think about that? He took a bite. They said he took 2 bites out of Tkachuk, and then he got suspended 5 games. And I put it out there to you guys. I asked a lot of people what you thought. A lot of you thought it was fair. Others of you thought it should have been 10 games. And I guess the argument in there was that, well, he bit him the first time, but I guess the second time Tkachuk pushed or punched his hand in his face, and that's the only reason why he bit him the second time. I don't know. To me, I'm calling BS on that. I think he should have been suspended at least 10 games. What did you think?
I agree. Like, I think you bite someone, you're a piece of crap. Like, you shouldn't bite someone. Like, come on, dude, you're a kid. Like, I mean, you're an adult. You're not a kid. Like, why are you biting someone? I get it. I've been in numerous fights. Mike, I've been in fights, like, I can't even count my fingers how I've been in fights. I broke my hand doing fights in the Army. You biting someone, that's like the ultimate, like piece of crap move. I think 5 games is too lenient. I mean, I guess it was fair, but I don't know. I think 8 would have been like I don't know. I think 8 would have been cool.
Yeah, that thing just blew my mind. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, "Are you effing kidding me?" I'm like, "All right,
And then
dude."
Dowdy, like having his back and quick, like, come on, dude. Like, how could it have someone's back that's biting someone? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like you're saying, okay, someone punches you or puts their fingers towards your face or whatever. Like I get it, but I mean, you have a hand too. Why don't you put your hand in front and block their hand or grab their wrist or move it or whatever? And I get it, you're pinned or you're fighting. Maybe your arm gets tied up or whatever, but. Yeah, there's no need to bite, dude. Like, I mean, turn your face away then or something. Like, come on. I mean, unless they're sticking their finger down your throat and choking you somehow. I mean, come on. It's just ridiculous. I thought that was crazy. I mean, I'm glad he got suspended, but I think he should have got more games. But hey, he's related to Claude Lemieux, so man, I mean, what do you expect from him? I guess sadly, he's not related to Mario, right? Or maybe he is somewhere down the line. I don't know. But anyways,
No, he's not.
I know. I'm just making a joke, but yeah, it just pissed me off. And then, like you said, and doubting quick, you two can shut up. I don't even count your opinion on this matter. Like, give me a break, dude. Kind of going on the tangent of negative stuff or negative things going on, but another one was with the Sharks too. The Vander Kane saga. I mean, it's kind of ended, not really, Eddie. I mean, they put him on waivers. Reassigned him to AHL. What do you think is going to happen with this, man? Talk about a cluster fuck. I mean, this has just been an ongoing problem. What do you think is going to end up happening eventually? Because he's not going to go play in the minor leagues.
Well, I think he should never play professional hockey again in his life. Like, I know people are like all like on his back and on his dick, whatever. I apologize for my language, but
we've gone deep on this show already. It's I gotta put the expletive label on this one. Oh well.
Yeah, tell our producer to edit some things out, but I mean, you're a professional hockey player, and okay, let's scratch that. I mean, you're a man, and the way that you treated the woman, I don't care. Like, I've been in relationships that were horrible and girls that were like that maybe I should have talked to him like he has, but I didn't. Like, I'm not perfect. Like, I make mistakes, but like everything that's going on with him, it's just terrible. Like, and recently, they have a video of him having a gun to his estranged wife's, pointing it at her. That's terrible. And then I get it. Like, we have videos too that she posted of him degrading her and yelling at her and verbally abusing her. Okay, I can understand that. Like, the way I talk, I use a lot of curse words, and I usually on this show I bite my tongue. And when I'm dating someone or have a girlfriend, I don't talk like to them like that. I just say in general, I cuss. I cuss a lot, but what I've heard on those audio tapes that she posted, it's disgusting. I think this guy has a lot of issues. He had issues in Atlanta and Winnipeg. He just can't get it together. I really, really hope he gets help, but I think he should never play professional hockey again in his life. I think she needs help as well. I'm not blaming it just all on him. I feel bad for the daughter. I think the daughter should be taken away from both of them. And it sucks. It breaks my heart to have to read the stories that I've read and from both of them. I think they're both crazy, and the biggest victim is the daughter. Evander Kane, he's a professional athlete. I think he should have some more decorum about him, but obviously he doesn't. And I think he's a cancer to the league, and I think it should be done. It sucks that we have to talk about this story. Like, I hate talking about negative stuff about hockey. I wish we can all talk about the great stuff, but I mean, obviously this popped up and it's not going away. And I want to discuss it as league news. I think we have a responsibility to discuss that, but it's bad, Mike. It's horrible. Like, I've been a piece of crap person. Like, I've been a bad boyfriend. I was married before. I'm divorced too. I've been a bad husband, but I've never done anything like he has done. I'm not saying I'm better than him, but still, it's just like, damn, you can't act like that. Like, you're pointing a gun. I'm not saying it's loaded or anything. You're pointing a gun at your ex or your wife, and the way you talk to her, it's not right. It's bad for hockey. It's bad as a man, and I can only pray and hope that she gets help, and I really, really, really pray and hope that he gets help, and he can just find something that can help him be a better person and be a better father. And I really, really pray for the daughter. Like, it's not fair for her to have parents like that.
Yeah, I think that's the right take there, Eddie. I mean, you got to just hope that they both get help. And yeah, it's sad when children are involved because they're the ones that often get hurt the most. So, I mean, I don't think you should play in the league either. And I think that they definitely need to get professional help on a lot of different levels. I mean, it's a crazy situation. Glad it's not our team, right? But yeah, they're gonna have to figure that out. And then kind of going with more stuff that has been going on, and this kind of relates to the Ducks because this has come up a little bit. We can kind of wrap up on this note, but the Canadians went a little nuts and started getting rid of some of their front office people, right? And so you had Marc Bergeron get fired, and then you had Jeff Gorton go take over there, which was a name that popped up before when talking about the Ducks and the GM thing. What did you think about this, Eddie? It seemed like a lot of the Montreal fans, from at least the ones that I saw on social media, they were pretty happy about some of this house cleaning with the Canadians. What did you think? And then also, what do you think about Bergeron maybe coming to the Ducks? I don't want him to, but some people are throwing his name out there.
I know Chris _MCS asked about like new GM. Bergeron, I think he's interesting. I think he's a good choice for the Ducks. I don't want to talk too bad about him. He's really big. He works out, so I don't want him coming over to my house and beat me up. I'm just kidding. No, it's crazy. Like, I thought that like Montreal would fire him at the end of the season or not renew his contract. Jeff Gordon, he had that issue with New York. He got dismissed from that. It's up in the air. I would like to see him as a GM. I think he's a good GM. He brought the Canadians and he makes moves. He's not afraid to make moves like that. But it's going to be one of those things we have to wait and see. And the Ducks, it seems like they're not in any hurry to hire a new GM, which is fine. It's not bad. So I hope that come off season they're going to kind of interview candidates. I know Canadians want French speaking and French GM, so it limits their options. Patrick Wall's been in the whole mix of that, and he said it publicly that he would be opposed to being their GM, but I have to wait and see. I don't know. I don't know if he's our answer, but I think the Ducks. I like what they're doing of just waiting and having an interim GM and waiting to the offseason to see what's going to happen. But he's one of those names where I wouldn't be opposed to having him as a GM.
So you're more for him. I'm kind of like, I mean, I don't think he's completely negative, but I'm just like, he just doesn't do it for me. I really rather the Ducks stay with Solomon, stay in house. Or like we talked about some of the other options on the previous show you can go back and listen to. But he may be one in the mix now, so keep your eye on him. See if he gets a job somewhere else now as Montreal starts, kind of going in another direction here now. But last thing to kind of wrap up, I forgot about, almost Eddie reminded me, thankfully, was Bobby Ryan kind of popped up lately. A lot of people saw some of his tweets. They thought that he was kind of indirectly announcing his retirement because he was talking about, well, if I wasn't retired, then I would do this, kind of a phrase in one of his tweets where he was talking about getting Taco Bell and whatnot with his kids. And it was kind of funny. And I mean, the way he said it, it was basically, well, I'm retired kind of a thing. So we put out a thing, saying congrats with him scoring that crazy goal that you all remember. But he then comes out and says, no, I'm not retired. And if I was, with Taco Bell, I wouldn't be talking about that unless I was getting paid or something funny to that effect. So I thought that was interesting. But if you look at Cap Friendly, he's listed as being retired. So is he going to come back? I mean, I don't know, maybe, but as of right now, he's living in Idaho and doing stuff with his family. What do you think, Eddie? You think he's just kind of unofficially retired and then he's going to officially announce it? Or do you think he really has a chance to try to come back later?
I have no idea. I hope he comes back, and I hope he retires on his own accord. I know a lot of people that played with him. We have friends of friends. Bobby Ryan, like, he's not a friend of mine, but I've met him through friends, and I think he's a great person, and I always cheer for him, and regardless where he goes, like, I just always be a fan. And, you know, like, a friend. Like, we both played Narch and stuff like that. It was kind of weird. He said that, like, the way he worded it, I didn't know that was his personal account. He was being, like, low key, but whatever he wants to do, like, we're all gonna support him. I think all Ducks fans, I think all hockey fans too. He's one of those players that just we're all cheering for him. It was like the way he worded it was weird, but we have to wait and see. I don't think he's gonna play again. In my opinion, he hasn't had offers as what I'm, like, researching and seeing. But if he does, yeah, I really hope that Ducks, like, sign him for a 1-year contract and he can retire as a Duck. I think that would be the best thing in the world, if him retiring as Duck. Like, that's my opinion.
Yeah, that'd be a fantastic idea. Yeah, I'm going off what Cap Friendly's saying. They're really wrong. So they're saying he's retired. I think he is as of now. Maybe not officially, but that's where he's at. But I'm with you. If he did that, or you know how they have the sign a 1 year or 1 day contract, retires as a Duck or something, that'd be cool. But I don't know. He's talking about Ottawa and Detroit and the stuff he did there. So well, just keep an eye on it. And like you said, we support him whichever way he goes and decision he makes. It was great when he did play in Anaheim for the time that he did. So all right, another action-packed show. Wrapping up, like I said, we'll try to get on a regular schedule. It's been kind of crazy with the holidays, unfortunately, so stick with us on that. We are giving away a Getzlaf autographed puck through Mercury Insurance. We'll post the giveaway on social media for that. Also, we posted the links to their Get a Quote, you get 2 tickets. Take advantage of that. All you have to do is put in for a quote, and that's it. Like, you don't have to sign up for their insurance or anything. There's no, like, gimmick or anything. I mean, they may send you a bunch of emails or something. I don't know. That's what a lot of these places do. But you don't have to actually sign up for Mercury Insurance. You just get a quote, and you will get 2 tickets to a game. So take advantage of that. We also have Bucked Up still. Go on there and use DucksNPucks 93, and you can get a discount for that, which, Eddie, I know you like using that.
Oh, yeah. I have one more thing, too, Mike. We have Annie OD on Twitter. She's going to join us on a podcast next time. You guys should follow her. She has her own podcast, too. She's cool. She has her own TikTok. It's awesome. And also, too, if you guys know anyone that needs a jersey, that can afford one, and that wants one for Christmas, single mom or a kid that has, a single mom, let me know, and as part of Ducks and Pucks, I will send them a jersey, a third alternate one, Fanatics one. Like, I have an extra one laying around. I want to give it away to someone that really needs it. So just tweet us, message us on Instagram or Facebook, and let us know if you need that, and I'll go send it your way.
Fantastic. And we'll be doing more giveaways too throughout the year. So you got the puck there for Mercury Insurance that we'll mention a little bit. Eddie's got that jersey. And also check out zstacklife.com. That's the vitamins that we've talked about. It's a pretty good deal. They had some Black Friday stuff. I think it's over, but I'll again put the link in the description box if you want to check it out. And that's it. So with that, we appreciate all the support and all the questions. And let's go Ducks.